Hello everyone, Zeldarinth here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we're going to talk a little bit about independent training and how to kind of min-max the quality of your parents and grandparents and even great-grandparents while utilizing it based on some of the things that I've been learning over the last day of testing it out. Now this is going to be the first iteration of this video, and I plan to do a follow-up here. I don't know how long until I do the follow-up, but as we continuously do more and more testing on it and find even better ways to utilize it, I will be making a follow-up to this one. But I know a lot of people are wanting to try and figure out how to immediately, right now, start making really good parents and grandparents. And there are a lot of things that we have found in the last day that are working quite well at getting started in that respect. And so when it comes to making really good parents and grandparents, there's basically like three main things that you're looking to make sure you can get through these runs. The first one is the one I've been talking about when it comes to building parents and grandparents, is being able to do the full dirt rotation. And so that is setting up the calendar so that you do pretty much all of the G1 races on all the Umas within your parent chain to maximize affinity. That's the first thing. So you want to be able to do that while also still being able to get the other two things. And the next one will be actually getting the skills that you want to get in your parents and grandparents. Because ultimately, if you don't have the skills that you're wanting to get off inspiration on your parents and grandparents, they're not going to be any good anymore. And as we get farther and farther into more and more scenarios, skill sparks are going to get more and more important ultimately if you want to be competitive in CM. And then the last thing you're also looking to try and get with this independent training is being able to get SS and try and get that consistently. So there's a lot of speculation on whether we would be able to get SS in anything outside of Grand Live with the independent training based on testing that was being done on JP. But now that we're actually able to test it here now on the global server, we are finding ways to start getting consistently SS. And then it's now trying to kind of find that perfect balance between getting SS, but also getting the skills, because if you go all in and trying to get rank with specific cards, it can actually make it much harder to get the skills, especially if you're kind of weaker on the parent and grandparents at this point in time, if you haven't been heavily grinding them like some of us. And so with that, we're just going to go ahead and take a look at some of my example Umas that I have currently, and I can kind of talk about how all of their runs have been working. Now, one of the things you'll see right off the bat when you look at mine is a bunch of UG Gold Cities. If you didn't get the chance to play yesterday to see what was going on with that, there was a bug with Gold City and Muteki. They have a repeatable event that happens after races, and apparently, from what we could tell, the bug made it where that repeatable event started working immediately versus after certain conditions were met. Like Gold City, it was after winning Tenno Show Spring. But with the bugs case, it just made it work the entire run. And so if you see a lot of these, you might see some of these Gold City parents out there, if anyone made a really good one out of it, where they ran a crazy amount of races, and that's because she was getting a crap ton of skill points on every single one of the races, and you could really exploit that. This does not work anymore in that respect, but Gold City, and from what I understand, maybe potentially Muteki. I don't know. I haven't seen Muteki. But with Gold City, you can still take advantage of this event. It's just it's not going to work like immediately. As you can see, I was doing like the very first races. I was doing all the OPs in those as well. But with Gold City, one thing you can do is while you still have the dirt rotation, as soon as you finish the Tenno Show Spring, you can also then start kind of doing a little of those extra races in there to try and get it as well. Still, you want to make sure when you're adding in these extra G2s and G3s that you're not tripling up or going over triple going into a G1. Now, this one's actually 2 away from Sprinter Stakes. Sprinter Stakes, of course, is the one that's always kind of a gamble because most Umas aren't good at sprints. But as you can see, looking at the Umas and doing these runs, even with the Gold City one, they are able to consistently win. Here's one, like, this was one where I didn't do that full abuse run, and having the stats here, it's just auto win. It's basically auto win, with the only one being a gamble being the sprint, but it's a 50-50 shot that you win the sprint with sprint G. With sprint F, I think it's like a 60% chance, and in her case, she won it both times. And so most of the time, like 75 to 80% of the time, you're going to win it. And so it does work, the calendar I utilize. The biggest only real downside if you want to get the consistency at winning these final races is you do need to drop the JBC Classic, so that you're not doing 6 races in a row. I have tried it with that, and it is possible to win that one plus the ones after it. You're just bringing your odds down. In her case, you're bringing it from like an 80% chance to like 50% chances on the Champions Cup and Tokyo Shodown and stuff. And so you can have losses and ultimately hurt your affinity a little bit more versus basically just winning all of them like this. But that's the affinity. So that's showing now the dirt rotation works. It's perfectly fine if you're able to get the especially if you're able to get like A or B and pretty much everything. They just default like win everything. But when it comes to the dirt rotation, other Umas will use now Fuji Kiseki as one example. Now she was Dirt C, Long C. She sparked Long twice, funny enough, in this one. But even in her case, doing dirt rotation, completely fine with her. Of course, you'll have your random losses. It's just the nature of it. She ended up losing Japan Dirt Derby. That was, I think, Japan Dirt Derby. She's got with C, I believe it's a 90% chance to win. So 90% chance to win it, and that she just hit the 10%. But on a lot of her runs, she's actually just outright winning all of them, especially since she has Sprint B, and she's C in Dirt and C in Long. Long and Dirt being, of course, the ones that she has the chance at losing. It's just fairly low on her. So that works. Now, you might see, after they fix the bug on Gold City and Muteki, what are people doing now to try and get that consistency in SS? And there is still something that is very, very strong right now that we have found, and that is PAL cards. So we'll just use this mod as an example here. And if you can see here, I actually used Throne, Light Hello, and Tazuna. And what they are doing that is very, very strong. One, they are finishing, like, they cheat their dates. Now, I don't think they always finish all the dates. I think there is an algorithm to it, to figuring out whether they finish it or not. But we have seen that they can finish all the dates. Even if you have a full entire deck. And we did have someone that had an entire deck of all PAL cards. And they also did, like, the full 50-plus races. And they actually had, I believe, every single one of them finished the dates. I have seen where they don't finish the dates. And I think in this case, they did not on one of them. I don't think Tazuna finished it here. They don't have concentration. But, I mean, we did get it on another one here. But that's not just the only thing. Not only do they are they cheating the dates, meaning you don't actually need to have available training to finish them. The algorithm just determines, based on probably a percentage, on whether or not the chain finishes. Which means no matter, even though you're doing dirt rotation and you have multiple PAL cards in here, you could potentially finish all of them. But the biggest thing is you are getting a lot of skill points. Each one of these, the PAL card by itself, is giving about 400 skill points per PAL card. And that is making it much easier to just outright buy most of your skills. If you do all PAL cards, you pretty much can buy every skill within that you earn. And what that's allowing you to do here is, I got SS with only one of them at 1300. All these other ones are fairly lower. You would think in Track Blazer or something, when you do these kinds of runs, you have low stamina, your power, like around these sets, you think, how is this one an SS? And that's because of all those skill points kind of carrying you by, like, look how many golds I was able to pick up. And that's because I think this one had like 40, I think this one had like 4,900. It's at 47. It had a crap ton of skill. Like, I was just buying anything and everything on her. But that brings the next point. Even though you can get yourself up to like that 5,000 plus skill points, one of the problems you start seeing is, well, now you have to get the skill quality. And that's where you're starting to have to figure out. And this is where you'll have to work with your own cards. I can't give you like a specific, this is exactly what you want to use, but how you can kind of work with what you got in figuring out what are the best cards to use. Now, and this one's with an Agnes Tachyon at Limit Break 2. Hopefully you'll be having MLB. So this is without even getting skill point bonuses off her yet. So some of the cards that I'm finding are probably some of the best. Tazuna coming back. Very strong. Because she gives a lot of skill points. She is giving a lot of speed. She's helping out with a lot of speed. I mean, that's one of the things with her card. She also has Tail Held High in her kit, so you can get Tail Held High off of her. So one of the nice things, she's getting a lot of skill points, but she's also giving you a valuable skill. And that's what we're looking at when it comes to these. The same reason Light Hello is super good. Light Hello giving you gold version of Playtime's Over. And she pretty much gives it every single run. See you later. Bam. Throne. We thought Throne was dead. Throne has been revived. Very good borrow in this instance. Now, you may have other cards you might want to borrow for skill specifically, but Throne gives a crap ton of skill points. I think she gives pretty much the most of all the pal cards. And her biggest thing, she has the gold version of Medium Corners. Medium Corners are very good inherit. So being able to get the gold version, giving you that 40% chance of getting it on inherit. As you get it built into your parents, it can bring it all the way up to 70%. Gives you a ton of stats because she has 2 skill point bonus in her unique. Gives a lot of, she gives additional wit and some speed. So very solid. If you don't know what else that you might want to borrow, she is a very solid borrow. Then when it comes to everything else, I'm finding, at least in my case, trying to bring, like right now I'm just min-maxing out the speed. But depending on the Uma and what their specialties are, if they have bonuses to power, you could do a full power deck. Like, it doesn't care. When it comes to doing the races, it's just using the algorithm to determine if you win. I mean, she's winning Tenno Spring with no skills because they don't pick up skills, so she has no heals, and she won Tenno Spring with that much stamina. It just cheats that. So when it comes to the cards, if you have really strong power cards, and you want to just throw all of them in here, you may have the potential to like get very high power, and kind of go it from a different angle to get the skills. Some good ones that I want to look at, potentially I might try out with borrowing. You have like King Halo power. She has Umastan being a very good inherit. Another one just for skill point bonus. You probably don't have her, but she has 2 skill point bonus. Power Uda, or Hadu Udada. Problem with her, she just doesn't have any skills. I really wouldn't use her over borrowing something like Throne. And so just kind of looking through them and seeing what can ultimately give you the most. But that is, right now, the easiest way is the PAL cards. Kind of just finding a balance between... To me, right now, it seems like 3 PAL cards is like a healthy mix. You put in 3 PAL cards, and now I'm kind of... What I'm going to do is start whittling down. Like, I want to remove Biko Pegasus. Biko Pegasus is bringing no value other than helping me top up my speed. How much lower... Like, what card can I bring in that will still get me an SS, but also give me valuable skills? Because we're doing dirt rotation, race bonus is still pretty valuable, regardless of what you're in. Marvelous Sunday power, very good right now. And what other people are finding, I haven't tested it out, is Fuku speed coming into value as well. It's really liking initial stats. So Fuku, which to me is a dead card for aces, even though people used to love it for aces, seems to be a very good solid one to get SS consistently. Although to me, Fuku, she doesn't have any real good skills in her, so I wouldn't want to borrow her. But apparently she's doing very well at helping you get that SS consistently with the independent training. Same thing with like Marvelous Sunday power, and then she has Tail Held High, Ramp Up, as well as other things in her kit. I mean, you could always use Marvelous Sunday Wit. So first thing I would say is if you want to try and you start off with getting your SSs consistently, bring in your PAL cards, bring in your strongest cards, and then just start whittling down the cards in terms of quality for your stats and skill points to cards that'll give you these skills. Because ultimately, if you go so heavy with skills points, you're just buying anything and everything you can. Like, I want to win with you. I mean, I literally just took that because, I mean, it's going to give me a decent amount of rank versus I don't really care about, because this one was in Grand Live. I don't really care about getting inheritance on that one. I didn't really care about Unstoppables either. I mean, this is my front runner, but it was more for rank more than anything else, and anything else better to buy. And so, just kind of nitpicking them there. But with that, that'll be pretty much it for now. That's what I've found over the course of the last day. Now, who knows if we'll see any other, like, stealth nerfs they do to the PAL cards. Things could change rapidly. Like, they jumped on top of the Gold City and Muteki thing very quickly. I mean, it was kind of excessive. We were seeing easy UFs, so it was no wonder that they went and fixed that one real quick, because you could make some pretty strong parents utilizing that, because you could pretty much use any cards. But that'll be it for right now on everything I found, what's working. If you want to see things as we're discovering them live, you can always join my Discord, which I have a link to in the description. Where a lot of people are just constantly discussing and showcasing what they're able to build with the cards they're currently utilizing to make those builds, as well as which scenarios working out. I know one of the big ones we really want to try and be able to, if we can get SSs in, would be like URA, so we can get stamina off of the scenario spark. That has definitely been the trickiest one. We were easily able to pull it off with Gold Ship and Muteki, but after they got nerfed, I think it's still possible, but you're starting to have to sacrifice quite a bit just to try and get the rank, let alone get the skills. But, I mean, we'll be continuing to try different things over the course of, well, forever, because I will be having these things run all day, every day, for the foreseeable future. And I will constantly try and keep people updated on anything I find and learn with this. But that's going to be pretty much it for now. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.